Even with all the Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell drama going on, Masai Ujiri still finds a way to shock Raptors fans, bringing in none other than the star of hustle, the cruise missile, the man that can only be described as the offspring of Scottie Pippen and a wolf. That's right, the Raptors ended up signing Juancho Hernangomez to a one-year contract, and this is going to have some serious implications on the Toronto Raptors roster situation, so lots of stuff to discuss about him signing on, what impact he can have on the team, and what this means for the other players on the Toronto Raptors. Additionally, there's a G League trade that kind of implicates the Raptors have lost all hope of ever acquiring Giannis. Not that that hope was much held on to by many Raptors fans left. We also had some leaked jerseys for this upcoming season. Our city jerseys have been revealed, so I'll show that off in the video and a whole lot more. So without further ado, let's dive straight into it. Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here at the Raptors Digest, breaking down the latest Toronto Raptors news. And we're on that road to 25k subs, quarter of 100,000, big milestone for the channel. So if you want to keep up to date on all the latest Raptor news, you've been watching the videos and you haven't been subscribed, help me out big time, help out the channel. So appreciate you all, but we have some crazy stuff to dive into, and that's right, the Toronto Raptors have signed Juancho Hernangomez to a one-year contract. Now, everyone for the past month has been pretty on edge about all the Woj bombs that have dropped, right? And you see the Toronto Raptors in the header of that notification. You see that bomb go off. So what happened? All the KD, all that drama. Did a deal go down? The Raptors are involved? Well, you know, those stars have all been named, but a star off the court more so than on the court, even though he's a pretty solid player, is ended up coming to the Toronto Raptors. And this is the official Woj tweet. Hernangomez finalizing a one-year deal with the Toronto Raptors. Sources tell ESPN. And this is, while obviously, you know, for people that don't know, I'll break down the meme, because some people seem to be confused online about what's going on. Juancho Hernangomez was the star of the movie Hustle that Adam Sandler put out, which is a really quality movie. Definitely check it out. And it's just a basketball movie where he's on the rise. He's trying to make the come up to join the NBA as a young, promising prospect. So really, really cool movie. Check that out. Definitely. He's acted really well in it. So, you know, obviously his notoriety picked up once that movie came out. But him on the basketball court is pretty intriguing as well. Breaking down the player, you look at his stats for this previous season, they don't really reflect the type of player Hernangomez is, because 3 points per game, 3 rebounds in total last year, 35% from the three-point line, not much captivating elsewhere, right? Not something you're going to become elated about, not something you're seeing like, oh, we got a steal or anything like that. But if you look at his overall career, he's a pretty intriguing player. Now, at 6'9", 7-foot wingspan, fits the archetype of a Toronto Raptors guy. He plays solid defense. He's known as a pretty good defender. He's pretty quick around the perimeter. He's really, really solid out there on the court. And at 26, he's had a strange NBA career, because in his first few years with Denver, right, Denver fans really liked him, but he was sort of buried on the bench, didn't get crazy amounts of opportunity except for his second last season there. Until he got traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. But, you know, average 6 points up till he was a 24, right around, all around that range. Then he joined the Minnesota Timberwolves, and he started to play very, very well for that squad, right? For his first season there in Minnesota, in the 14 games he played, averaged about 13 points per game, 7 rebounds. So that's pretty impressive. That's something that can get you excited. And he ended up getting a bigger contract following that outburst with Minnesota, putting up some numbers, and then that sort of regressed the following season, playing 52 games, only 7 points per game, and then this previous year ended up bouncing around the league, got signed to the Boston Celtics, obviously where he showed up in the movie, and was kind of outspoken about how he didn't like the organization there in Boston. Brought up, obviously, there was a bunch of turmoil in Boston for the first half of the season. I think they weren't even in the playoff picture for a large stretch until like mid-January. Then a lot was made about how, you know, things tightened up and all that sort of stuff. But he talked about how there wasn't really a team concept. They didn't want to get the most out of their players. It was a bit outspoken. He walked back the comments a little bit, but that ended up getting sent out of Boston pretty quickly to the San Antonio Spurs, and then he jumped to the Utah Jazz at the end of last season. And there he did play pretty solid. He averaged 6 points per game, for Utah. Shot 44% from the three-point line in 17 games. So, plays solid defense, can knock down the three. He's a solid 3&D guy. And if you look at the Utah Jazz Reddit, Twitters, what they've been saying about back when he was initially waived or they didn't pick up his option because he got that bigger contract and was going to make about $7 million per year. But given the risks, especially with how up and down his season was last year, makes sense why Utah didn't want to pick up the contract, especially the direction they're going. They want to be going down, not up, right? But Hernangomez, right, had a solid there, and Utah Jazz fans said they really liked him. He was a player that they wanted to sort of bring back and keep into the system. And looking at him play, looking at the impact he had on that team and throughout over the course of his career, he looks like a pretty quality bench piece that could legitimately get minutes. And Nick Nurse brought this up at the close of last season. The Toronto Raptors, just like any team in the modern NBA, given all the health and safety protocols that go on, right, given all the injuries we've seen, the rest that has been happening over the past few seasons, you need to have, for the regular season, a bunch of players that are capable of getting on the court. And the Raptors obviously had points last season where they were only going 6 and 7 deep in regular season games because we needed that push for the playoffs, right? We want to make that stamp, which we did. Right, which ended up working out except for the injuries we sustained come playoff time, which hurt us in the first round of the season, but helped us win games. But you need a bunch of guys that you can reliably throw out there in the regular season and get some minutes. And Hernangomez is looking like a quality guy that can do that. He fits the Raptor system, the switchable defense. He's 6'9", right? And I keep bringing that up, but the 43% from three from the Utah Jazz last year, that is pretty encouraging. So just as a player, I am intrigued about the signing of Juancho Hernangomez. But the question mark we have seen now, and this is what I guess this sort of feeds into our next topic about how difficult roster decisions must be made. Now, if you look at the Woj bomb that I showed earlier in this video, I'll pull that up again, just says 1-year deal. And now we've seen a few of these 1-year deals being brought up. Now, Woj, I don't think he made a specific tweet for the DJ Wilson stuff or anything like that. I don't know what language he used specifically. But Blake Murphy, as well as Josh Lewenberg, essentially brought up the expectation is it hasn't been guaranteed as of recording just yet. It hasn't been made official about what this sort of contract looks like. But it's a 1-year non-guaranteed deal. Now, what does that mean, right? Does that mean we just signed him for training camp and all that sort of stuff? Potentially. Now, Hernangomez, I think skill-wise, is a guy that definitely deserves to be on an NBA roster. He fits the Raptor system and is a guy I'm very intrigued about. But we have a lot of players. It's been a huge topic of discussion this entire offseason about the number of guys we have on the roster. And Lewenberg gave a pretty comprehensive view about what the roster is sort of looking like right now. Guaranteed on the roster, we currently have Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Trent, OG Anunoby, Boucher, Thaddeus Young, Scotty Barnes, Kem Birch, Otto Porter Jr., Precious Achiuwa, Malachi Flynn, and Svi Mykhailiuk. Now, you look at that, obviously the odd man out of that list is the man that be drinking this Fiji water, right? But he does have a guaranteed contract, even though he didn't perform up to expectations last year when he was given the opportunity. Maybe he'll be able to bounce back, and we'll discuss what options could be happening with Svi, because you look at the guys that are not guaranteed, or I guess I'll bring up the two-way guys, Harper and Doughton. They're pretty well guaranteed going into this year, but they're on a two-way contract, so they're not really fighting for any roster positions. But the guys that are partially guaranteed right now are Delano Banton, Armani Brooks, DJ Wilson, Justin Champagnie, and Juancho Hernangomez. And we also have the issue about Christian Koloko not being signed just yet. The expectation, there's no reason why the Raptors wouldn't sign him. He's a very promising young prospect in a position of need. Christian Koloko is getting a contract, likely a guarantee. He's going to be on the team. So assign Christian Koloko to that guaranteed spot. But the thing about it is, you're only allowed to have 15 guys on your main roster going into the year, and then two-way players. So you have the likes of a Delano Banton, of an Armani Brooks, of a DJ Wilson, Champagnie, and Hernangomez, all fighting for a single roster position. Now, I made a lot to be said about how I wanted Jeff Doughton on the roster. I want him on the team, and I was very happy that he was on a two-way contract, because then he wouldn't be fighting with a guy like Champagnie Poppy, Justin Champagnie, for a potential roster position. But now we have another guy that's sort of come in, and Hernangomez is good, folks. He is a very, very good player. He might not be as young as the other guys, but he is added to this list. Now, I think the full expectation is that Delano Banton will be on this team. He showed too much promise, too much potential to sort of give up, let it wave, and do all that sort of stuff. So I think Delano Banton will certainly be there. Armoni Brooks does have flashes of being nice, but I don't know if he's a main staple on this list. I think most people have sort of come up with the opinion that Justin Champagnie would be more valuable given everything that he does out there on the court than an Armoni Brooks, but that was one of the debates we sort of had as a tough roster decision already. DJ Wilson, he did have some nice games, nice moments over the course of last season and in the summer league, but am I taking him over Banton, Champagnie? No, it's not something I'm doing. So there's a tough situation there. Some people are bringing up potentially waiving Svi so we keep DJ Wilson, but now Juancho Hernangomez is into this mix, and if I'm going to keep it real, if I'm going to keep it 100%, I've been praising DJ Wilson. I like his game, and I think he's solid and all that sort of stuff. I think Juancho has more upside, has more potential, has done more in the NBA already than DJ Wilson. And put him into our system, right? Let him thrive as a guy off the bench that's a 6'9", that can be versatile. I think Juancho Hernangomez is a guy that we'd want to have on this team. So out of those guys, I'm looking at Delano Banton, Champagnie, and Juancho fighting for that those final two roster spots. And thank goodness I'm not the one making these decisions, because Masai Ujiri, he's a better brain, has a better basketball brain than me. That is going to be a difficult one. Now, Delano, I think it's just there. I think it's going to be between Champagnie and Hernangomez. Just given off youth and homerisms and stuff, I'd probably rock with Champagnie if I was just immediately told I have to make a decision right now without seeing Champagnie really in the summer league, without watching much of Hernangomez at least last season, right? That's the route that you probably have to go. But man, that's going to be tough. Hernangomez fits our play style perfectly. He's a three-point shooter. He's a proven three-point shooter, right? He can finish in the lane. He can do a lot. He's pretty versatile on both ends of the floor, has a lot of potential even though he's 26 years old. That's going to be tough. If I had to make the pure roster decision, I'm probably just waiving Svi. I'm eating the cap hit and then just saying Hernangomez and Justin Champagnie, you're joining the squad, you're joining the team. But it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out in a training camp. And even though Svi has that guaranteed contract, I think he's going to be one of those guys fighting for one of those roster spots, and he might end up getting waived. But again, not to be I think there's been a lot of bashing on Svi over the course of last season and this year, this offseason especially, just given the competition for the roster spots. But Svi's young himself, and when things look right for Svi, he does look really good. So maybe he ends up staying. It's going to be very, very difficult roster decisions that would be thrown out. We're going to be covering it all as more and more info comes in over the next few weeks. With summer, we got a few more weeks, a couple months to go before the season starts back up, before these decisions have to be made, but it's going to be difficult. But a few other roster decisions have been made. They've been decided, and the Toronto Raptors have officially given up their quest for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, I think I've done this video sort of a few times just by memes, but I put effort into this animation back in the day. As any chance I get to play it, I'm throwing it up on the screen. That's right. This might be the final time we get to see Giannis watch happen. This might be the final moment we get to experience it, because there was a bunch of drama made last year about the Toronto Raptors signing Alex Antetokounmpo's younger brother for the potential recruitment, right? For Giannis coming in, even after the 2021 drama fell completely off a cliff when Giannis signed that Supermax extension. But the news we're getting out a couple today or yesterday, I forget. I think it was yesterday. But the Raptors 905 have acquired Jalen Lecque. They have acquired the rights to Jalen Lecque, and they're sending Wisconsin, Milwaukee's affiliate, so obviously the team Giannis is on, the rights to Alex Antetokounmpo and a future second rounder. So, Antetokounmpo was not very good for the 905 this previous season. He could barely get off the bench. And, there were moments throughout last year, people were saying all the potential's there. And I was excited, him coming in, but really couldn't carve out a niche for himself on our G League farm team. So there's not much potential really for him to come up, to be brought up to the main roster. And have an opportunity. Unless you're doing the, playing the long game for Giannis, it doesn't seem like it made sense to keep Alex Antetokounmpo around. Throw him back to Milwaukee, play with his brothers, be in the same sort of area, and that's all cool. So we're giving him Giannis. You can stay in Milwaukee for now. Maybe the Giannis watch will end up coming back in the future, but want any excuse to play that animation I tried to do. But I dove into this Jalen Q. I've heard the name before. He played for the Suns and the Pacers, but he is an intriguing prospect. And obviously, he's not going to be on the team this year. He's just going to be on the 905. 6'4", he's an uber athlete. I watched a few of his highlights played, but averaged 16 points per game in the G League last year and finishes around the rim really well. 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Not much of a three-point shooter. Shoots roughly like 30% from that from beyond the arc, but he is shifty. He has the speed. He can finish in the rim, above people, below the rim. Quick moves. So Q, I think, will be a nice piece for the Raptors 905, and who knows? Give it a season or two. Obviously, we've had some 905 guys leave our system and thrive elsewhere, including Gary Payton II. So maybe Q. Obviously, we traded Antetokounmpo in a second for him. Q could potentially be one of those backup guards where, for our entire team is 6'9", maybe Q comes in and has an impact on the team in the future. But I wanted to discuss that trade a little bit. But the final thing we're discussing, the final thing we're talking about is the Raptors city jerseys have been leaked. And I've made it known I'm not a fan of our current kits. I'm not a fan of our current jersey looks. The red one I got behind me isn't that bad, but the ones we had prior, just cleaner, they're cooler, and I think the Raptors have so much potential for colorways and stuff. What are we doing with this chevron thing? I saw something, I think I saw it on Twitter. The one crime Kawhi Leonard made to this team was what was it? Oh, bringing the chevron, making it a staple in the jerseys, and I couldn't agree more. But this is the new jersey that has come out. You can see it on the bottom right. It's black and gold once again. Looks pretty clean design-wise, right? Pretty straightforward. The text is pretty big. These are all the city jerseys. I'll leave them up there. If I had to, one that captivates me, the Wizards is pretty wild with the pink there. Miami's always got some wild jerseys, but the Raptors, they're playing it safe. They're playing it safe with these jerseys. The Spurs ones, I always like it when they throw that weird, turquoise color out there. So, the city jerseys, interesting stuff. The Raptors kind of played it safe, and I'm hoping we get a jersey revamp. I think they said this is the last year guaranteed with the chevron, or this is the last year minimum with the chevron jersey, and hopefully we have a rebrand coming up because I want some new threads for my Raptor squad. The chevron jerseys just remind me too much of Tampa, right? Let's get a new era of Raptors jerseys. Let's get the pure Scotty Barnes, the Scotty Barnes era. That's what I want to see. But let me know what you guys think of these kits. Let me know what you guys think of all this entire Raptors news in the comment section below. You guys are the best for making it this far. Check out the Instagram, the Twitter, the TikTok, all that cool stuff. If you made it this far in the video, haven't subscribed, right? We're on that road to 25K. So I appreciate you all. Anyways, enough of me rambling. I'm signing out. Cheers.